Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be talking about the VZ55, a Tier 10 tech tree Czechoslovakian heavy, and personally a vehicle I think it is incredibly underrated and that more people should be getting in their accounts. Why? That is because this is just an absolutely fantastic tank, and after the slight buffs it has received and after the latest update, I think that this has easily become one of the strongest heavies in the game. Why? Let's break into all of the reasons. First of all, it's got a very dangerous gun. High alpha damage at 470 and pretty solid DPM paired with accuracy, 2,450 DPM. More than enough to get the job done in the heavies class, and its dispersion with refined gun is 0.29, which is crazy good. Refined gun was a massive buff to this vehicle, and that's because it features combat stabilization. Essentially, at a speed no more than 15 at reverse or driving forwards, the aiming circle remains small, allowing for more accurate aiming. And that is crazy good for the VZ55, because you basically just have a flat better dispersion value than you did before when you're really sitting still. It's monstrously good, and it allows this tank to get away with some stupid snaps. When you pair that with the fact this thing has really good pen, 280 on the standard, 350 on the premium APCR, sure, heat got mega buffed in the latest update, but premium APCR, especially high pen APCR, is still the way to go. It butters through spaced armor, and that's why the VZ's really not going to have to worry at all there. And when you add that to the fact the vehicle's got 7 degrees of gun depression, a decent top speed of 38, and a solid power to weight, it's just a great tank in really every regard when you combine it together. And that's not to mention the armor profile of this tank. This is the VZ55's armor profile. And you might say, oh, it's got a lot of weak spots, you know, some green here, a lot of green on the hatch, big ol' lower plate. Oh, you want to know the crazy part? This is a Ho-Ri with calibrated shells and premium AP aiming at the VZ. Yes, you heard that right. This is a Ho-Ri aiming at the VZ. Do you see that upper plate? Because I sure do. A lot of people don't realize this, but the VZ55 has one of the strongest upper plates in the entire game. The fact that a Ho-Ri cannot pen it on flat ground because it is over 450 millimeters thick is absolutely insane. If you were to get out a normal heavy and we make our way over to, like, I don't know, a T110 E5, I mean, there's no world where an E5's ever going to pen that upper plate. Against heat, it's 560 thick. Even looking down on the upper plate, it is still red at a pretty steep angle. So, yeah. This tank's armor in that regard is very good. I should also mention that it obviously has spaced armor, and if you try shooting through that space, it is going to make it very hard. We can see that the 19% minus penetration of the gap makes the armor just impossible to cut through. I mean, if you're hitting the space, you're not going to pen it, and that's also going to block HE, as we can see. So, in general, the spaced armor is just going to stop a lot of your heat shells if you hit it. You do have some weak spots. You can hit right next to the mantlet, which is about 260, but the chance of doing that is slim, so you're going to have to load gold. And even then, these are some pretty thick spots. If you miss by a little bit, it's 400 to 390, and this is 298. So it's one of those little shot traps that if your shell goes just a little bit to the right or the left, you're hitting a mantlet that is impossible to pen, or you're hitting a plate that's over 400. So either way, it's a very troll tank. The only major weak spots are the hatch on the roof, which is 200 millimeters, and this little middle plate. It's not too bad when you're hauled down, but you still can get cut through. I honestly have only had it happen like once or twice playing in the tank, but when it does happen, it's a little bit cringe. However, if you try shooting at that plate and you miss, you're going to hit the upper plate and bounce off every time. So, yeah, I think the VZ in that situation is pretty good. Side armor isn't very good, I will say that. I do not like the VZ sides. Don't even bother side scraping unless you're really, really steep and you trust it, because it's not good. The sides are only about, 55 millimeters thick on flat. To be fair, you can't really HE that because of the way you have to squeeze the shell through, but still, that's a bad side armor. The rear is about 65, so there are definitely weaknesses to this tank. But overall, I don't think we can really get all too mad about this vehicle's armor profile. It is quite robust for what it is, and when you pair that to the fact it's mobile and has an incredibly solid gun, this is just a really good tank. So now that we've done talking about the vehicle on paper, let's actually see what it can do in gameplay. So here we are. And we are on Fort Despair, which is honestly one of my least favorite maps in the game, but I think we can do okay in this vehicle. The problem with Fort Despair is just the fact that it's just not a fun map to play on. With the way it's designed and everything going for it, I just don't love the overall direction Wargaming was going with their design here. So we got a 907 who poked. I'm hoping we were able to not get spotted. Sweet, okay. We were able to make it around the corner without being detected. Alright, we are gonna get stuck in front of an IS-7, and obviously because the IS-7 does have so much alpha damage, it's able to quite easily butter through me as well. As I said, the sides on this tank, not very good, but if you are hull down, that is where the armor is going to be quite effective. This is why I personally don't love going to this flank of the map, by the way. It's just a little sus. I will not be the first one to admit that. There you go, nice shell into the VK-90. He sees my lower plate. Oh, IS-7 bounces me. Okay, so at this time frame, I'm going to cross over here. Going to load a gold shell. Oh, and I'm going to get screwed by RNG. Thank you, game. Oh, I'm going to lose another 450 health for that. I can't really say that's the gun's fault. That's just RNG. I mean, look at how much pen this thing has. And it's super accurate, too. So, that's just really cringe. Well, let's see what we can do here. Let's make our way behind this little corner, and let's make our way to the VK-90, who looks like he was bled quite heavily from the 183. The 183 is going to make his way around the corner here. And let's see, he shoots the enemy FE, and we're going to load a gold shell in. Again, the accuracy of this tank is really, really good, as I went over, and that's because of the fact that it's got that special mechanic going for it. So we're chilling here for the most part. We're going to aim it on the 183. There you go. That accuracy is just so good. I mean, you basically drive and you don't bloom. Now, the problem is I am alone, and my team has kind of screwed me, to be honest. So, oh no, I got the V4 over here. Let me just back up a bit. Let's see if that's V4 is going to cover me at all. Let's load in a gold shell on that VK-90. He overpokes, which allows us to get a pretty easy bonker-rooney. And, yeah, I mean, we're doing okay, to be fair. Not really any complaints coming from me as of yet. We got the minnow on our rear. And the minnow does get a quick pickup, which is not ideal. Let's see. We got the 907, 477 damage shell out. And, well, let's just try and get one more shot before we end up dying. Let's aim it on the 907. There you go. 460 damage. That is a 3,700 damage game. I hate when teams decide to go to the medium flank on Fortress Fair, and that's why right there. When you go to medium flank, usually if the enemy team just boxes you in, you lose. And we saw that happen easily there. I mean, we had a skilled chieftain, and that's why I kind of went with him over to that side of the map, but I personally would have liked to have gone towards mid, sat hull down, and done my job there, which is kind of what we did later in the game, but as we can see, even though this team was pretty terrible, we were still able to get out 3,800 damage. The gun is so accurate. We only got trolled once, and that was because I was driving on the move. That's not too surprising. The rest of the shots, I mean, you saw how accurate the vehicle is. Even when you're turning the turret, as long as you're sitting still and you're kind of moving back and forth less than 15, and this tank only reverses at 13, so you're not going to have to worry about going over, it is laser accurate. It's actually insane how good this gun is. And that's what I love about this tank. It hits hard, and it's got such good accuracy that you don't need to worry about your shells missing at all. So now we are on Dynasty's Pearl. I think today I'm going to do 3 helpings of gameplay, and that's just because that first game really didn't even count as a battle. What I always say is if you're going to lose, focus on getting out damage, because at the end of the day, that game was never going to be a win. So I basically knew that and immediately said, all right, let's focus more on actually getting out a decent chunk instead of trying to support our team once we were about halfway through that battle. So we got the enemy Kampfpanzer. We got quite a few vehicles here. Balschation's making his way through mid. There you go. Nice 470 damage shell. E50 is going to poke. And as much as I'd... Oh, actually, you know what? I might be able to get a shell into the bat chat. Oh, well, I'm not... Blah. Really. Well, that's a little cringe. I'm going to make my way up top here. And I think that's where we're going to chill for now. Let's see. Anybody want to poke? Well, we got the 57 heavy. We got a lot of tanks here. And for now, we're just kind of chilling. I'm waiting for an enemy tank to over-poke. Oh, there you go. 487 damage into the 57 heavy. Our Hovery is quite low, but thankfully our Chieftain has a pretty solid chunker of health, which means he should be able to at least distract a little bit. Got the 4202 in the open, and we got the Kampfpanzer. 4202 saw the corner of our upper hull, but that's not really a problem. We were still able to get out a pretty hefty bleed, which is all that we're really trying to do anyway right now. Let's aim it on that 4. Nope, not able to get it out. But instead, we get a 588 max roll into the E100. That's where the alpha damage on this tank feels so nice, is when you're able to just get out these absolute juicer shots. For example, we got this like FV4202 over here, and if he backs up just a little bit more, there you go. Never mind, the game did not want me to pen that shell. RNG is something else. I mean, it's definitely one of those values that nobody likes, but oh well. We're going to aim it on the rear of the 57 Heavy, but he pulls forwards just at the last second, which means that we actually can't get the shell out. Okay, well, let's see if we can support our team against this 183. We do have the 4202 over here as well, so I'm going to get a clearing shot into the 4202, and then we'll make our way to the FE2 and 5P 183. Let's see, E50M gets a shell out, and we're going to push up as well. We're already at 2,500 damage, which is pretty good, and with that pen there, I'm just hoping that, well, I was hoping that our T100 would... Ain't no way he's looking at me. I was about to say, bro was literally looking at me over the T100. Bruh. Alright, well, let's continue on gaming here. We're still pretty healthy, which is nice. We've conserved our health, and we haven't really been shot at too much, to be honest. T100, he does shoot through me, but we hit him right back, even though the Conf Panzer bleeds us as well. Didn't think the KPZ was going to hit me, though. That is a little bit frustrating. However, E100's dead, so it's not that big of a deal. And if this Conf Panzer does end up poking, there's not really much he's going to be able to do to bounce our shot. This tank does not bounce with that high premium pen. So, let's see. We got the 57 Heavy all the way in the back, and at this point, that's mainly who I'm going to focus on trying to get damage into. Let's see, the 57 Heavy missed one of his shells, and I'm really hoping at this point that I can just get maybe one shot. Come on, come on. No, unfortunate. We still did fine. 3,500 damage is more than a solid result. I mean, you can see the gun's great. I mean, we got a little trolled. Wargaming again said, oh, you have the rear of a 4202. You're not allowed to HE that, even though we literally had the HE on him. So, oh well. But another 3,700 damage game, and that one was a win. It shows just where you're able to kind of get hauled down, you're able to bonk your opponents, and quite easily come out with wins. Here we are on our final game, and this might actually be a pretty good one to show where the armor of the VZ works, as we have been placed on Canyon. Canyon is a map that, if you go mid, you can obviously use gun depression, turret armor, and get out some shots, and that's what we're going to focus on doing here. Up against us, we have a 60 TP. And a Foch. I mean, the only tanks we're going to have to fight hull down are a Kron and a 60. I hate fighting Krons, though, I'll tell you that. The Kron is just, it's pain. that's as simple as it is. Now, we're probably spotted, yes, indeedler we are, but we also have given some assistance because the T-92 got bled by our teammates in the back. The problem is we have an E6 and Centurion in the back. It's not really doing all too much to support me also. Chieftain, bruh, you gotta give me some room. Alright, let's make our way up here. We got the 60 TP, nice, easy 460 shot, and now we reload. Well, let's see, what is that 60 doing? I honestly have no clue. Very confusing plays from his vehicle. I don't want to be shot, but this Chieftain's also kind of in my way. Oh well. We got a shell out, and we got the 30B up top. I'm not going to poke that Yag anymore, I'll tell you that for a fact. Well, maybe I will, now that the Yag shot my buddy. Let's aim in, and again, that's where the accuracy on this tank is so nice. You can see just that. The fact that I'm not really reversing over my limit is allowing me to get out some really, really juicer shots. We got the 60 TP, he shot, and we're just going to back up. However, I don't want to be shot by the Yag. Oh boy. This Chieftain kind of got in our way again, and I scraped his front when trying to back out. It's not that big of a deal, but he just needs to... He needs to give me some room. It's not that hard of a concept. Alright, there you go. Nice shot into the 30B. And just like that, we are up to a very good amount of damage already. And even though we bled a little bit of health, it's not too bad. I mean, losing 800 isn't the end of the world when you still have 1600 left. It's usually when you lose 800 and then you lose like more and more that it starts to become a problem. There you go. Nice shot into the 30B, bringing him down to a one shot. The Kron is going to play aggressive, obviously, against our teammate. And there you go. Nice bounce on my hatch. Kron gets shot with an HE, and we're going to... Oh, 390, bruh. And this Yag gets another shell into me for some reason, because our Chieftain's not looking at him. Oh, well. I mean, again, there's not much you can do about poor teammates. And right now, 407. I'm telling you guys that Wargaming has some sort of like RNG factor that when you're shooting at one-shots, you have like a high chance of not killing them, because we not only fired at the 30B, or some other tank that was a one-shot. No, the Kron, that's right. The Kron had like 430 health, and we rolled 397. But then we rolled 410 on the 60. 470 alpha. It's not the tank. It's just... there's got to be something wonky with Wargaming's coding that does that. But either way, we're doing fine. We are up to 3,900 damage. And we easily dominated the hill. The only tank that bled us was a Jagdpanther on our side, and honestly, if the Chieftain wasn't on the hill with me, I would have been completely fine. It was just I had to maneuver my tank in a way with the Chieftain there that we both could easily work the spot. But not a bad result, and I don't mind bleeding health when it's for the greater good. So, 3,900 damage, 1,450 blocked, the first class, and top on the team. This is the VZ, and it's why it's such a good vehicle. Its gun is great, its armor is great, and its mobility is solid to get the job done. Sure, does it have weaknesses? Yes. Most of you will probably be quick to point them out. But just because a tank has weaknesses does not make it bad. The Kron is one of the strongest vehicles hull down in the game. It's got awful hull armor, though, a terrible engine, and constantly gets its driver killed. There's a lot of weaknesses for every tank. Even a Rhino, one of the best heavies that Wargaming just released, still has really bad armor. Its turret can be cut through if you have high pen heat. Every tank has its fair share of setbacks, but I think that the setbacks on the VZ are very minimal compared to the advantages that it features, which allows it to be so capable. The line itself is solid. The tier 9 is kind of mediocre, I will admit that. The tier 8 is great, though. The tier 7 also mediocre, so like it's not the best line to grind, but if you're just focusing on the tier 10, you'll enjoy it quite a bit. This is a really good tier 10. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.